All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach. Double honors to our elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace, love, salutations, and blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and in sincerity. All right, let me just check the feed real quick and make sure everything good, because sometimes the StreamYard be going off. Check. All right, testing, testing, testing. All right, testing, testing, testing. All right, we good to go. All right, so this is your brother Nathaniel from the GMS Camp Atlanta. Coming at you with a live, and the title of this live is when martial law finally hits, and martial law finally hits. Okay, and martial law definitely is coming. All right, martial law definitely is coming. It's literally right around the corner. All right, and we got a couple of factors that's going to play into that we know. Aside from ICE and the uproars of the people, but there are a couple of other factors that that will play into this. One of them is the financial element, and the second one is the division of the states. Okay, which are um, all things that are coming to pass. So, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right. All right. So yesterday I was watching a video with Elder Apostle Gabar, and he was playing this video here. Uh, you know, um, it's called "Comply Smart," and this is talking about martial law. All right. So there are a couple of things that I'm gonna get. There's one precept I'm gonna get real quick to start this thing off. All right, and we're gonna go to Second Ezra 16 and 37. All right, and it says, "Behold, the plagues draweth nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son." So, as Yahweh Shai was speaking about those birth pains, the wars, the rumors of wars, the uproars of the people, the earthquakes in diverse places, all of these different things, that are happening in the world, right? These are just the beginning of sorrows, but the end is not yet. It says, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains can pass her womb, which pains when the child come forth, they slack not a moment. All right. So you're seeing prophecy after prophecy after prophecy after prophecy. You're seeing all of this pop off. Okay. You're seeing everything happen right before your eyes. The scripture says, it's a glorious thing to see the fall of your enemies. And we're seeing, the fall of this system that has been oppressive to us, So as we go into these precepts and we read these scriptures, we understand where we are in the biblical timeline as far as prophecy is concerned. All right. So that's how we know we're at the end of this thing, because of all of these things that are happening. All right. It says, which pains when bring forth a child, they slacketh not for a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So every hellish thing that could be happening. We talk about the wars and the uproars, but they're spraying shit in the sky that's making everybody sick. Like this perpetual sickness is consistent. And if you notice, every time they have a heavy chemtrail day, it rains shortly after. Okay, because they're trying to get these chemicals on you. All right. So they're plagues, sicknesses and illnesses that are also happening. And then, the food is putrefied too. So there's a lot of things that are happening on every side, and everything is expensive. So not only are we being poisoned by the putrid food, you got to pay for that shit, and it's expensive too. You know, it says, "Oh my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." So, the times are going to come where we're going to have to move around a little bit. Okay. It says, "He that selleth, let him be as he that fled away. He that buyeth, as one that will lose." So, hey, you're going to lose. All right. "He that occupieth merchandise, as he that haveth no profit by it. And he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein." Okay. So there's sorrows happening on every side. And what we're seeing is the beginning of martial law. All right. So I have a couple of videos that I'm going to play. The first one being this one, because we always go into Second Ezra, the 15th chapter. And of course, we're going to bring that out. But these are one of the things that are going to cause Second Ezra, the 15th chapter to happen. Okay. We're already here. But when you talk about civil war and sedition among men, we really ain't 100% completely there yet. We're getting there, but it's really not going to happen until the states start fighting against the states or the federal government, which is on the way. Now, we've seen that movie Civil War, I believe, where there was the federal government was going against the states. Okay. So it's going to happen. It's coming. And if you don't know about what, my main man, Nero 47, right? My main man Nero 47 here. All right. Look, well, just take a listen. You see that? So the crowd claps and applaud this guy. But what he's really saying is that anybody who went against me, right? We're not going to fund you. Anybody who's doing something that we don't like, we're not going to fund you. Now, the states, they get all of their funding from the federal government. If the federal government don't fund the states, there really is no union. So what's going to happen is the states going to start doing their own thing, and we already see that happening with Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. Um, so here's another one. These are all the things leading up to martial law, and this is the financial collapse, hyperinflation. You see that? So hey, that's why everybody's shipping away from this is why everybody's moving away from the dollar, because the dollar is unstable, especially when you're going to print the money. So this is also going to add toward martial law and financial collapse. So let's go to Ezekiel 7. Come on, Ezekiel 7. Ezekiel 7 and 19. And it reads, it says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold, and we're referencing this to the fiat currency now, okay? Because we've seen that in many times where what is it? Casting. Let's see if that'll bring it up. I'm just looking for some images of that. Wow, it brings up the book of Ezekiel. I'm not looking for that. Let's see. If I spell that right. But if not, they'll figure it out. Uh yeah, let's see. All right, I'm just looking. Yeah, see, there's an image right there. And money has no value. They just have you ever thought to buy a loaf of bread and they ask for a bag of money? You see, this is Zimbabwe after 2008. All right. So you got, America who has $40 trillion in debt. It's gonna be money everywhere. They're gonna be throwing their money away like it's trash. All right. So going back to this, finishing it off. Okay. It says, their silver and gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. All right. So you're not going to be able, to buy your way out of this. Your silver, your gold, and all that stuff. It's not going to have any value. Okay, and it's losing value right now. I went to the store the other day, and a bag of coffee. Now I remember buying this coffee, years ago, and it was like $4.99, and it was $5.99, then it was $7.99. It's $15.49 now for the same bag of coffee from the same company. Well, it was $15.99. I think they corrected the price. I think it's like $11.99 now, but nevertheless, still $11.99 for a bag of coffee, right? So it shows you that the value of the money, right, is losing. It's losing its value, all right, because first and foremost, the quantitative easing, but secondly, the other countries are dumping the dollar. Okay, they're dumping the dollar. So, so when this financial collapse finally hit, what do you think is going to happen? So now you got the states against the Fed that's going to be against the federal government. We've seen that in Civil War, and we're seeing the groundwork being laid out for it right now with Trump. And then we got this financial crisis, and then we already got the paramilitary troop already in the streets called ICE. So the only thing we need now is just like Minnesota, Minnesota, the governor, he enacted the National Guard to help combat ICE. You got other like counties like DeKalb County passing in Georgia passing legislation to keep ICE out their county. So you're seeing the division. All right, you're seeing the division. So um let me go to the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, second verse. And it says, "And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight every one against his brother, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." And I've done lessons on this before. A state, right? A state is a country. So is a state like a country? Yes. A state is often used interchangeably with the term country in political science, representing a defined territory with a permanent population, government, and sovereignty. Okay. That's why when you hear about other countries, they're talking about a state. They're talking about a state, the state of this, the state of that, but it's not in America. All right. Now, if you're looking at that from that perspective, each state is its own individual country. Okay, it's its own individual city. And that's what the union is. The union is all of the states collectively coming together to form what we call now the federal government. Okay, that's the union of the states. All right. So each state is likened onto its own country. Say we sometimes use the same context. A nation refers to a group shared culture, history, whereas a state specifically refers to a formal sovereign political institution. All right. So they're interchangeable. You can use that word state or country. And when the union falls apart, well, what do you think is going to happen to all of these states? What do they revert back to? Do they stay states or do they revert back to countries? Okay. Well, they're going to revert back to countries, or they're going to be countries. Okay. So when you go to that second Ezra, it says a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. All right. Which we're going to get it. He's literally not going to be able to. You're going to need. They're going to be. The borders are going to be guarded state by state. Okay. Now you may have some of those red states, I guess, red or blue states or whatever that are in alliance with one another that still may allow safe passage and all that good stuff. But for the most part, if there's an opposing state, right, or what he would call the sanctuary city in between you and another state, you're not going to be able to pass through there. Okay. They're an enemy state. All right. And like I said, I just said it. We've seen it in that movie Civil War. You've seen that the states were warned against one another. Okay. All right. And it says, "And the spirit of Egypt," verse 3, "and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards." Okay. So they're going to be trying. They're already trying to do this, but the Lord already. Their time is already up. The left hand is not working with them the same way that it was before. All right. So I have a video that Elder Apostle Gabar he had posted, and it says martial law explained what really happens when the government takes control. All right. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna listen to the video. All right. And then we're going to bring out some precepts to show you that, hey, all this stuff is in line with the scriptures. And as we move closer to this martial law, you're going to start seeing all of this stuff happen. And some of this information, hey, man, I mean, if the Lord ain't with you, you through anyway. Okay. Ain't no surviving this that's coming to America if the Lord ain't with you. Is that not already happening? Aren't they doing that in certain states? You know, actually, as a matter of fact, they've already been doing this to Jake. It's just now it's happening to Esau too, ripping people out of cars. You know, papers, please. Now they're talking about what they say now. Let me see. I should have just left it up, but let me see history. Let's bring Tic Tac back up. I didn't mean to like that shit. So I'm gonna pause it. All right, let's go to the search bar. Um, so let's see if it comes up. Let's see. No, hold up. So like, bear with me, please. Let's see if it brings it up because I seen a video about it. All right, warning. All right, all right. Here you go. All right. So you see, they're gonna have ICE, you know, snatching people up who don't have their passport. Now you got a lot of people who are citizens and can't even get passports. Okay, if you owe back child support, you know, over 10,000, you ain't getting no passport, man. Okay, and how many people owe over 10,000? You ain't getting no passport. So what does that mean for you if you happen to be you know, you can be a so-called Negro, so-called black man. Don't matter now because the whole thing wasn't about immigration. It was about getting this Gestapo on the streets, man. Okay, that's what it was for. It was to get them out on the streets. All right. So you're gonna need papers. You're gonna need your passport. But hey, screw a driver's license. You know, driver's license ain't doing it no more. You know, all my life I thought that if you had, your state ID or your state driver's license, that was good enough identification to say you was a citizen because you know it's highly unlikely that unless you have, some type of visa or a work visa or green card or something like that, you can't even get a license in America. You need to be able to prove that you're legally here. Okay, so but now they want a passport because a passport is federal. All right, so you need a passport to prove that you and honestly, do you think they're gonna care? And see, every single time, you get to a point to where uh you get to a point to where you comply with what they want, they raise the bar. They say, okay, well now you need this and now you need that. Or that passport can be forged. Okay. You need to do this, you need to do that. So they up the bar every single time to something more. All right. They got the video comply or die. I think let me see. I'm gonna pull that one up real quick. Because these people ain't playing out here. I mean, they saying it openly. You see it? They openly telling you, man. They openly telling you. We're already in a pseudo form of martial law. It's just not full blown, but it's coming, man. So all of these things, as I was just reading, is coming from every side. Okay, it's coming with the food, the water. Okay, it's coming with the education, the funding. I was just reading this morning that Amazon is laying off 16,000 people. You know, the federal government is to cut Medicare and Medicaid again. All right. And my rib, she works in the medical industry, and she's saying, well, they're saying these cuts aren't going to take effect until late 2026, 2027. I'm like, get the hell up out of here, man. See, you got to understand the psychology behind these governments, man. They know y'all own the business. They know that y'all get paid through their subsidies. You think they're going to sit here and tell you, okay, that you're not going to get paid no more, that you might be out of a job, that your company may not be making no money no more? You think they're going to just let you know that? No. We're dealing with the goddamn devil. He's a liar. Okay? So let's go back to this martial law video. All right, so I got a precept that I want to bring out real quick, because for the men of the Lord, hey, we already in training. We've been training for this. This is Isaiah 33. We bring it out all the time. 33:6. It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and the strength of salvation." And here's the most important part: the fear of the Lord is his treasure, because that's where the wisdom comes from. The fear of the Lord. All right. And those men that are diligently doing the work right now, as we come closer into this time, and they're teaching in sincerity and truth, they fear the Lord, man. I know, man. Looking at, I have confidence. I pray that the Lord have mercy upon me. But what if He don't? You see, so it's a very fearful time to be living in. So this isn't a time to be sitting on your leaves. You got to be doing the work, man. You know, whatever that feeling that you had when you first came, on a little side note, whatever that feeling that you had when you first came into this thing, you got to refight. You got to find that fire again, man. Okay, because this ain't the time. Like, this ain't the time to be on your leaves and BSing around. All right, get up and do these lives. Go get to camp, do your videos, man, because things are rampant, and real soon, you know, I'm gonna do a video on it. We're not gonna have access to YouTube no more. Okay, they're gonna make it to where you can't access YouTube. They're gonna make it to where you can't access the internet in certain ways. Okay, because they don't want this information getting out. Okay, in a time of deceit, of compulsory deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Okay, so they can't let this truth get out. They got to silence it, because this truth is what's really tearing everything down. All right. Yeah. And Shalom to the Akim on the comment board. Brothers posted a really good precept. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. Brother Yashamai. Yeah. Shalom to the Akim on the this is Revelation 2 and 4. The brother Yashamai. Shalom, brother. It says, "Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou have left thy first love." And this is where you got to refine that fire. You got to pray to the Lord, to bring that, to keep that fire going, man, because we're in some troublesome times, man. I mean, I was just watching a video of all of the people that were killed by ICE, that were unalived by ICE. Hey man, this ain't no joke. Just because it ain't found you yet. All right. That's why the scriptures say wisdom and knowledge. Let's read that again, man. Let's read that one more time. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. He just said, just in this little piece right here, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Okay. The streets turn into checkpoints. Okay. Now let's go here. Now we're gonna go to 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right, and let's read it after seeing that little part. Let's go to 15. All right. We're gonna jump around a little bit, so we're gonna go up and down. All right. So this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Okay. You're gonna want to leave because there may be persecution. You may not be able to go that way. You only can go this way. But then going that way, there's a checkpoint right there, all across the border into that place you want to go, or marauders or robbers. There's something there that's going to stop you that's going to impede you from going into that city. Okay. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Okay. Your house is going to become a prison. We seen a symptom of that back in 2019 with COVID. 2019, 2020. People being locked up in their houses and they can't get out. Right? We've seen that already. So you're gonna desire to leave, and you ain't gonna be able to leave. I didn't want that one either. There we go. Okay. You're gonna want to leave your house, and you ain't gonna be able to leave your house because you're gonna see him outside. That's why. Let me just get it, man. Let me get Isaiah 32. All right. Because this is why it's so important. This is why men of the Lord are going to be so valuable in that time. This is Isaiah 32 and 2. It says, "And a man should be a hiding place from the wind." The men of the Lord are going to be doing some impossible things, man. When that time comes, we're going to be doing some impossible stuff. A big old crowd going to be there, it might be a barricade, and we might need to get over there. And then the man of the Lord might just teleport us, you know what I'm saying? Like in Bell of the Dragon, when the angel forgot who the angel grabbed and just teleporting them, to give Daniel food in the lion's den, and then teleporting them back. The men of the Lord might do some stuff like that and just teleport us clear on the other side, away from the checkpoint. Okay. Or the man of the Lord might make it to where they don't even see you and the people that are with you passing through. It looks like it's just nothing there. Or the Lord might raise the man up and give him spiritual powers, and he might demolish the whole entire platoon right in front of you, and none of y'all get hurt. Okay? So a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, a covert from the tempest, as a river of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a rock in a weary land, like a desert. Goddamn sun just baking down on everything, and you walking through the desert, and it's so hot that the ground is cracking, and you find a rock, and you sit up under the rock because the rock is so big, and the shadow just overcast that whole area, and you give you some rest. Might even be some condensation or some dew on the rock that you can drink. You know what I'm saying? That's what the men of the Lord are going to be in that time. Okay? Men of the Lord are going to be a river of water in a dry place, a desert. You know, like the scriptures say, my servant shall eat and you should be hungry. This is why it's so important to stay in this thing right now. This is because we at the end, man. We about to get into the hard part. And if you anything like me, hey man, it's some scary shit we about to go through, man. Like Ezra says, woe is me, who should deliver me in those days? Because that's the mind frame that you gotta be in. This is why you gotta work. You gotta stay in this thing. You gotta continue to push. Okay? Because it'll be the bishop at our camp, I remember a couple weeks ago he said at the briefing, he was just like, you already got your crown, just don't let nobody take it. You see what I'm saying? Just don't let nobody take it. Now, this is why it's so important to be locked in right now, more so than ever, man. Don't worry about, I know we got to work. I know we got families and things that we got to take care of, but you got to really put your faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You got to put your faith in the Lord, and you got to believe that the Lord is going to take care of you. Now, I've been in some very tough situations, and I done seen brothers in very tough situations, and there is no explanation on how else we got out of this except it be the Lord. Okay? And those are the type of things the Lord going to be doing for us in that day. And that's why the men of the Lord are going to be so valuable. We're going to be the hedge. Isaiah 4:1 is going to come because they're going to see how valuable these men are. And man, we're gonna look like a goddamn glow stick in a world of darkness in that day, man. Okay? So let's go back to the video. Salakia for the rant. And that's why, like in that movie, Leave the World Behind, they didn't have any communications. I don't know if y'all remember that. Okay. And I really was thinking about that movie, Leave the World Behind, right? And y'all remember that part in the movie where all those flyers were being dropped by those drones, and it had it was like a bunch of flyers, and it was like covering the cars and all that stuff. Now, me personally looking at it through a spiritual eye, those were the other nations attacking this place with nuclear missiles or missiles, because there was a whole bunch of them. You see what I'm saying? There was no communication. There was no the people were in disarray. They wasn't showing all the dead people. Okay, they made it seem like they made it quiet, but if you really pay attention to the scenes, right, there was no people around, which means there was a lot of dead people. They just wasn't showing the bodies. Okay, so there was a lot of death already. So that I think that that was them, that was them showing the capstone, which was the bombs getting dropped. And they just, because it was thousands of flyers, right, from all of these different nations. What else could they be besides missiles being shot? Because the scriptures talk about how it's going to be 200,000, which is 200 million missiles that's going to be shot on America. So it's going to be a lot of missiles shot on this place. Okay. Oh, the internet gonna get shut completely down. It ain't gonna slow. It's gonna be shut down. They think they think they're gonna be able to, you know, rationalize what's gonna happen. You have no idea, man. It's gonna be great death. All right. I'm gonna come back to this. I just thought of a precept. This is Second Ezra 16 and 27. And it says, so that one man shall desire to see another and hear his voice, because there's gonna be a lot of death. He talking and this is gonna be in the first phases of martial law. So when you go in and oh, that's who else. You see this? It says, in a total collapse of American infrastructure, grid, supply chain, law enforcement, mass death will likely begin within a few weeks to 30 days. The majority of the population estimates range 70 to 95%, 70 to 95% likely to die within the first 1 to 2 years. Okay. And it's going to be even quicker than that. Okay. You got exponential growth, and then you got exponential loss. Let me see if X oh then I'm a bad speller, but forgive me. Loss. Okay, exponential decay. Okay, exponential decay. A quantity is suspected to exponentially decay if it decreases at a rate proportionate to its current value. Symbolically, this process can be expressed by following differential equations. So, uh, as you can see here, if you look, if I'm seeing this chart right, you see this green line right here. You see how it just drops off. Wow. It just keeps falling. Even this blue line right here, right? So you see that exponential decay can happen, and there's no way to quantify that. Okay, there you don't know how long it's going to be, right, before this exponential decay happens. However, the signs point to it happening very quickly. Okay, very very quickly. All right. So it says, verse 27 again. It says, so that a man should desire to see another and to hear his voice, for of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of a field shall hide themselves in thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. So what is that saying? There ain't gonna be no people out here, man. It's gonna be mass death. When this martial law kicks off, this is going to be the first step of an extinction level event that's going to happen on the shores here of America. Okay, this ain't gonna be no joke. So as you thinking, oh, you know, I'm a prepper and I don't put this food aside, or I got all these guns and all that stuff. None of that stuff gonna matter, man. If the Lord ain't with you, you through. Okay. If the Lord ain't with you, you're gonna be through. Um, so I'm gonna go to First Peter. First Peter. Yeah. And this is my mind frame right here. This is First Peter 1:3. This is what I just described. It says, wherefore gird up thy loins of your mind, because it's about to be some hell out here. Okay. So gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought onto you at the revelation of Hamashiach, of Yahushua Hamashiach. Okay. So this is what we're hoping for. So you got to gird up the loins of your mind because of the shit that we about to go through. And be sober, hoping, okay? Be focused, be laser focused on Yahushua, not moving to the left, not to the right, not stumbling, okay? And being laser focused, and hope that you're going to receive the grace for this work that we've been doing, man. Okay? Verse 14, it says, as obedient children, not fashioning yourselves to the former lust in your ignorance. All right? So making sure that we stay in this thing, doing those things that are pleasing to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is why I said before, you got to go back and find that fire again, man. Okay? Because when martial law hits, like, hey, man, we already moving at lightning speed. But when that insurrection is laid down, when these states call in the National Guard to defend against the ICE crew, right? It's gonna be brutal out here, man. And then you can already see that the supply chain is slowing down. Like, these shelves are empty. All right. So you think, man, people are going to bug the hell out after 24 hours and not being able to go to the grocery store. Then 3 days, then a week. Are you crazy? Most people don't have enough food to last them 3 days in the refrigerator right now. Okay. So these people, they're going to bug the hell out. All right. And it's already happening. So let's go back to the second Ezra, the 15th chapter. And let's start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So going back to this video, yeah, the transition that you're talking about is a transition into the kingdom of heaven. Okay. Jacob is the end of the Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So we're transitioning into the kingdom of heaven, man. This kingdom is over with. This is the beginning of the end. And we're not even at the beginning anymore. This is the end of this empire. This is why all of the NATO nations are collapsing. All of the Edomite nations are collapsing. All of them. But the one that they hate is the whore, which is Babylon the Great. Okay? So let's go back to the second Ezra. And it says, verse 15, it says, for the world and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. Okay? These men are going, let's look up this word sedition real quick, just to get a better understanding of what it is. Hold on now. It says sedition, conduct or speech exciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Remember earlier in the lesson when I was telling you that a state is basically a country. All right. So there's going to be sedition in everywhere you go, all over the states. It's going to be sedition. Okay. So that means it's going to be lawlessness. All right. The military is going to be one of the last things you're going to have to worry about after all this shit really cracked down. You're going to have to be worried about the dude next door to you, man. Little boy's going to be getting cracked open. Little girl's going to be cracked open. Your wife's going to be cracked open right in front of you, right? And in a lot of cases, a lot of y'all y'all gonna get eaten, okay? Because there's gonna be a lot of cannibalism going on. All right. So when martial law goes down, it's going to be more than just martial law. It ain't just you got the military running around. You're gonna have to worry about these knuckleheads. They're gonna be trying to avoid the military too. Okay. They're not gonna want to go into them cities with them people with that weaponry and all that stuff. They're not gonna want to go in there. Now, of course, you're gonna have these militias that's gonna fight against them, but it's gonna be like a war zone. But after they done killing all each other, you gonna have marauders. Okay, you gonna have mercenaries. You gonna have all type of crazy shit going down, man. All right. It says, and invading one another, they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're gonna run into your house. Okay. They're not gonna have any respect for your daughter or your son or anything like that. Okay. And ain't gonna be no. It's gonna be the law of strength, the law of justice. Okay. It says a man should desire to go into a city. We just covered that. How they're gonna be having borders. They're gonna be having checkpoints and a different type of what's the word block when they block the road, barricades. When they're gonna barricade the road up so you can't get through. Okay. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Because y'all ain't gonna turn back to the Lord. Okay? Y'all don't even think about the Lord. I mean, how about that? You going through hell, you have no power to do nothing, and you still ain't gonna think about the Lord. Just let me just throw a lifeline out there. But see, most of y'all ain't gonna remember the name of the Lord. The Lord gonna make it to where you don't even remember. Oh, I heard it. What was that name? It was Yeshua. It was Yehoshua. But the name Yahushai and Yahweh ain't gonna never come into your mind. Okay? Because when you had the opportunity to know the truth, you either scoffed at it or you ignored it. You were being piped to by the men of the Lord, and you didn't dance. Let me check the comment board real quick. Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. Hey, that's a good one right there. The water, the brother, Shalimah GMS, Shalom to you, brother. This is Second Ezra's 6:22. As a matter of fact, let me just go to it real quick. Because there's not gonna be no escape from this destruction that's happening. It ain't gonna be no, and it's gonna be hard even for men of the Lord. Because remember, we're not gonna be able to communicate with each other like that. Wherever you at is where you're gonna be stuck with. Now Yahweh, the Lord, they may have it to where you actually be able to link up with the brothers. But a lot of us, what we have, Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time and the strength of that salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. That's what you're going to have to have. You're going to have faith that the Lord is with you. You see, when you see those troops, you're going to have to believe. You're going to have to be fearless, man. You know what the scriptures say? Fear is nothing more than the betraying of the accords that reason brings. We know that the Lord is with us. You're gonna have to be able to die for this, man. You're gonna have to be willing to put this. This is how serious it is now. It's not. This ain't a plaything. Elder Apostle Gabar says it all the time. You got to know what you are a part of, man. You got to know what you're a part of. All right. And there's a lot of hell that comes on us all of the time. And for the most of us, we just take it on the chin cheerfully and we keep it pushing. But this hell is going to be like nothing you've experienced. Okay. And you're going to have to really lean on the Lord. All right. So I'm going to go, the brother Shalimah brought up this precept, 2nd Ezra 6. Because there's not going to be any escape from you. You're not going to be able to go nowhere. Okay. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 22. This is what martial law looks like. All right. Second Ezra. Yeah, 6 and 22. Yeah. This is Second Ezra 6 and 22, and it says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear." This, I know this ain't the precept. Yeah, this is it. "And suddenly the sown places shall appear unsown, and the full storehouses suddenly be found empty." This is what y'all don't understand, that a lot of the food that we get is food from last year and the year before. Don't y'all know when you read Second Ezra 15, I think about the 14th verse, 13th verse, where it talks about the blasting of the hail, the crops gonna fail. Okay, the crops gonna fail. There's not gonna be nothing in the storehouse, and we got a media that don't tell you shit about nothing. They don't tell you nothing about nothing. Okay, the information that you get, 99.9% comes out of the mouths of the men of the Lord. We tell you what's about to happen because we're getting it from the scriptures, directly from the source, through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, we're getting it directly from the source. We're not getting this. We're not making this up. And look at it all happening right now. Okay, so verse 22, it says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouse shall suddenly be fall empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be afraid." I was watching the video, the brother Arrows of Indignation. You know what? I might just see if I can find that video. Okay. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this one right here. This is referencing that scripture right there. Exactly. Yeah. Now you see how detailed her dream is. Like, it's extremely detailed. Okay, so she got the soldiers on the street. She's saying goodbye to her kids. We hear Trump talking about what we call the Golden Dome. Huh? So she was talking about, like Israel's Iron Dome, the Golden Dome. All right. That's what she was talking about. It's the end of Esau's world, not the end of the earth. Now, there you go. That's the point that I wanted to bring out right there. So it says, and a trumpet, verse 20, second Ezra um, 6 and 23, and it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. You hearing the sound, you hearing these sirens go off, you're like, oh shit, bombs about to drop. Yeah. Yeah, bombs about to drop. And it says, at that time shall friends fight one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand still in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So you're going to have all the sewage is going to swell up. We're not just talking about water not running. See, that's how base people's mind be thinking. You're not just talking about the water running. You need the flow of this stuff, the flow of sewage, okay? The removal of contaminants from the water. Because then what a cholera or cholera, however you pronounce it, let's just look it up. What is there it is. I said cholera is an acute severe diarrhea infection caused by intestinal or food or water contamination with the bacterium Vibrio cholera. It causes rapid, massive fluid loss, leading to severe dehydration and potential death within a few hours. Within a few hours, if untreated. Within a few hours. Okay. So when the waters don't run, the sewage is going to back up. All that shit is going to come swelling up to the surface. Oh, and don't let it rain. Don't let it get a hard rain. Okay. The cities are going to stink. Right. Not only are you going to have people trying to get out of the cities because of the military and the craziness is going on, the cities are going to stink. Not just from the dead bodies, but from the sewer. Okay. And it says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told you shall escape and shall see my salvation and the end of the world. Okay. You got to go through all that to get to the salvation. This is why it's important to stay rooted in this thing, because when this martial law hits, martial law is the key turning point. Okay, because we already know that when martial law hits, everything else is about to fall very quickly. Martial law hits, the chip, okay, it's going to happen. The collapse of the economy going to happen. Okay, then it's going to be the war, and the bomb's going to drop, and Lord willing, the deliverance. All right. I had a couple more presets, but let's see where we at. Yeah, we already at an hour. So, hey, Shalom Radah. How about you and Shabbat? Yeah, and a beautiful preset, brothers. Second Ezra's show this. It says Second Ezra's 2 and 7, 7 and 2. It says and 8, and it says, and one only path between them both, even the fire and the water, so small that there could be but one man at once. Okay. Hey, so as a precept that the brother just brought out, that's how dangerous this thing is about to be. All right. So, I know I went a little long, Shalom and Salakia, but I'm gonna end it there. I'll probably do a part two on this. You know, that when martial law finally hits, man, this ain't gonna be no game. It ain't gonna be no cakewalk, man. When martial law finally hits, hey, gird up the loins of your mind because you're about to see some things. All right. And pray that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh is with you. So with that, I'm gonna end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakar Kodesh. Till next time I can say Shalom.